Hi, everyone. This is the SEC Field Sync for April 2025. Welcome. We're going to start with some product updates. John, you have the first one.
Sure. Thanks, Alana. For the first up for DAST, we released support for reflected cross-site scripting. So this is associated with CWE 79, which some customers may reference. So this is exciting for us because this is essentially expanding what our DAST scanner can test for and return a scan result for. So this is providing depth of our product, but also making us more competitive against some point solutions for DAS scanners. So we're excited about this. If customers do want to turn this off, there's a configuration to do so, but we've put it on by default, which adheres to our product principles. So I'll throw it over to Hannah next.
Alrighty. We are on SaaS. We have already released the service accounts UI. It will go out for self-managed in 17.11. Previously, this was all available through the API, but hopefully putting it in the UI will make it easier for people to adopt it. To just give a little plug on why customers should want to adopt it. So right now, they probably use group and project access tokens for their integrations and automation. These accounts are not tied to a human. So, for example, if the person who created the token gets offboarded, you no longer have to worry that also that token's access will expire. It doesn't consume a billable seat, but I think really the most compelling part of it is that unlike project and group access tokens, service accounts embody least privilege by default. So they don't have explicit access granted and they don't follow inheritance like a human user would. So you have to explicitly add them to groups and projects. You can choose the scopes that they have, and then you can also choose the role that they operate under. And that role can be different based on the group or the project. And then you can also offboard them and retain their attribution. And then we also have the ability to rotate their tokens in the UI for ease of use. So I think really having this all available in the UI will make it much easier for potentially non-technical personas to create and manage service accounts. So hopefully you can spread the word. I did do a walkthrough video for service accounts, and I'll link to the docs here. And it will go out as a primary item for 17.11 once that comes out. Any questions on service accounts before I move on? All right. And the other thing I just want to mention is a change that we're still trying to figure out if it's impacting customers. Presumably it would based on our telemetry, but I don't think we've heard much. We removed a grant type for security reasons. And that's an OAuth grant type, so potentially impacting OAuth integrations. That happened on April 8th. So please let me know if you hear any customer impact here. This is on .com only, and this will be a breaking change that will go out to self-managed not until 19.0. We do have an opt-in if customers want to opt into the breaking change before 19.0. We already have that available on self-managed.
Quick question, Hannah, on the service accounts. Sorry. Do you know when we'll have API support for those to be able to discover those through the API?
Oh, we already do. What exactly do you?
Okay. That's exactly. I have a customer who's got a fair number of that it's starting to grow, and they want to be able to create like some kind of a monthly report on those. So I just wanted to quick check. I hadn't had a chance to quick check the docs this morning yet.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
That
Cool.
should be.
All right. Hannah, were you done?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, I have the next one. It's been a minute since we've had any significant additions to secret detection coverage. We just released a bunch of updates. improvements, but also increased the coverage of what we're covering for secret push protection. So it's not out yet, but the MR for the release post item is merged for 1711. And then I also, the changelog, you kind of have to decipher it a little bit. So I also put in a summary of like what changed for secret pipeline secret detection versus secret push protection. And that's in the here, my summary here. So exciting stuff. Hopefully we will continue to see more and more changes as we're refining the process around secret detection and releasing those updates. Connor, you have the next one.
Sure. Seeing if I could type faster than you all could talk, and the results are mixed. So two things. First, just on advanced SAST. It can be easy to lose the little details together, so I wanted to up level a little bit. So performance is primarily scan runtime is one of the main like potential points of friction for advanced SAST. So just wanted to kind of give you a brief update. It can be kind of confusing because we make a change, it might or might not affect your particular case, or a scan can be long for any number of reasons. If we fix one reason, it might not help your customer, it might help another customer, that kind of deal. So just the takeaways overall, performance is continuing to improve in general. There's a recent addition of multi-core scanning, so that lets you kind of take advantage of runner resources that we weren't able to use in the past. We used to run a single core scan, which meant you could throw 8 CPUs at it. It's not going to go any faster. I'll add a link to the docs right there. This is on by default now, in 1710 plus, I believe, with some certain safety limits to keep it from trying to steal too many cores, like in different cases. So I believe it maxes out at like 4 if it can't explicitly tell you're on a GitLab hosted runner. So multi-core is helping us take advantage of more resources. And if you do have cases where folks are not wanting to use advanced SAST because of runtime, we're happy to know that. We may or may not be able to help fix it right away, just because there can be all these many causes of performance problems. But especially knowing kind of characteristics of those cases is really helpful, like what frameworks they use, what languages, how many files, how it's organized. That kind of thing can help us a lot in knowing whether we have an answer for you. Questions now, or I'll move on to the next one. Next one it is. We can always come back to it. So brief note on changes. So whether they're breaking, disruptive, non-breaking, somewhere in between. Anything that had risen to the level of being announced as a breaking change, you've likely seen that most of those have been canceled. This is a company-wide, I guess for anybody who's been here for more than a year, you've seen more than one major release where we inconvenience people, say that's a bad thing, we should never do it again. And then we proceed to do something almost the same the next year. I think this is an effort not to do that. Within SEC, you'll see there's a portion of our changes of the list that will be eliminated entirely. In some cases, that means we were adding new behavior, taking away old behavior. Now we'll keep both. So for example, with secret detection, there are commits or certain messages that let you skip detection for push protection. And we were going to change the words for Git Guardian, and I think maybe for native secret detection. Alana can correct me if I'm wrong. But now we'll just keep both for the time being, which means that it's not a breaking change. The new behavior exists. People can start using the new behavior, and we'll deal with getting rid of the old behavior later. Some changes will be postponed to 19.0. So for example, we're planning to turn advanced SAST on in 19.0 by default for SAST users, because we still want that to happen. We still want it to be a thing. It's not the case where we want to just have people kind of sitting with the old defaults forever. Other changes will be revisited in general, just because delaying a year may or may not make sense. And I think in general, we can also say that the goal is never to disrupt people. And I can use this advanced SAST by default as an example. The goal is never to make people do something they weren't prepared for or didn't want. And within that case particular, we thought we'd be a lot higher with sort of opt-in, so that the change the profile of the change as we approached 18.0 was looking worse than expected. So I think in this next year, we'll be looking at anything that's targeting for 19.0. Let's try to sort of incrementally make progress to get people across the hump, get them opted in, get them ready, so that the flip of the switch is kind of a no-op. It just sort of ratifies what people have already done. In some cases that'll work, in some cases it won't, but that's I think that's our general intent. That got longer than I meant it to. Let us know if you have questions. It can be confusing, but definitely pause on outreach around breaking changes until you make sure you know what's going on. Thus end the soliloquy. Anybody else want to announce anything, ask questions, or we can move on to like the sort of movement forum?
I just like to hear the updates for my customers. So sorry if I'm not contributing a lot, but I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right.